Alright, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So, unfortunately, last week I kind of got sidelined with some mental health spirals and a few other personal things in my life. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to the videos I was supposed to get to. But after having taken a rest the past few days, I'm feeling a little bit more energized and refreshed. So, hopefully, going into this new week, I'll be able to catch up on my backlog a little bit and hopefully put out some extra videos to make up for last week. So fingers crossed nothing else bad happens this week. With that said, we're about to dive straight into Haikyuu with a double reaction. I really got to shout out to the fandom for this. I really appreciate the fact that so many of them are really good about either taking the spoilers or making sure they don't aren't spoiling too many things about each chapter once it releases, because I've actually managed to get through pretty much unspoiled for the last two chapters. I haven't heard or seen anything about it, or if I have, I've completely forgotten about it. So really appreciate the fandom doing that kind of stuff. So, super excited to get into it. So without further ado, let us get into Haikyuu chapter 393. Do we get the title? Oh, we're waiting for the title again. Oh. Alright, so we see Hiragami and Hoshiumi all bundled up with jackets and scarves as they're looking on this, standing at the outlook, looking out on the city. And you have Hiragami going, "I played my whole high school volleyball career, knowing that even if I messed up, nobody was going to die. But now, if I screw this up, it's entirely possible that someone will die." Boy. And you see a half little thing of letter of acceptance for Sachiro Hiragami to a veterinary university. Oh boy. And you see him telling him, Hoshiumi, "I'm sure I'll be fine. I understand now that sometimes things aren't going to be fine, and that's okay. Besides, I'll be doing something I like." Yes. Of course, we have translation by Adrian Beck, lettering by Erica Terriquez. And you see Bakudo jumping up for another spike as he goes, "Energy shot! Bakudo beam!" And he just slices it between the defenders before they can even react. And you have hey, 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 as you have Black Jackals 20 to Adler 17. You see Bakudo just excitedly doing his whole thing as he's just like, yeah. And he looks away for Atsumo's getting ready to serve. And he's like, "Put her away for us, Sum Sum." As Atsumo's just walking away still. Deadly sign, all focused and serious. And you see Daiichi's just doing like bump, 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 bump. You see his heart beating really loud. And he goes, "And that monster comes back up to serve. I know all too well what the Adler's defense has to be feeling right now." And you see oh, you see Hoshimi just licking his lips as he's getting excited, and he goes, "Bring it on," as we have chapter 393, "Beat You to Being Better." And you see Atsumo going up for this swerve. It looks like it's just a normal jump floater as it starts swerving as soon as it goes over the net. And you see Hoshimi just getting right under it with to bump it with all of his fingers, as you have Hoshimi going "Umi" as he sees, and he bumps it up nicely. And you have "Nice bump," and you see oh, you see Atsumo so pissed off that he managed to bump the serve. He screams out, "Hey!" And you see Hoshimi just getting excited as he starts running up. And you have "Deflected" as it bounces off the Adler serve. I cannot tell who it is. Oh, is that Hiragami that's... Yeah, you see the Hiragami, the one that's serving it off of one of the Jackal's hands. You have "Deflected." And you see a "huh" and a "wok." And a "Wansan" is a "Bakudo." And you see Atsumo trying to like spike. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He seems to be trying to be like spiking the ball to receive it. And you see getting bumped up to Bakudo. And you see that oh my god, Furudate's paneling is just, oh my god. You see him just rushing up as the blocker's already there. And you see him looking at the ball as everyone's thinking he's going for a block out. And you see So the announcer goes, difficult emergencies after Bakudo coming at him from behind. And you have emergency sets or sets from someone not the setter or from well away from the setters or from well away from the setter's standard spot. You see him going in for a spike. Ooh. And as he spikes, you see the ball going straight, and you see Hirugami and Romero just instantly ducking their hands down, so the ball doesn't get deflected off them. And you see Hinata just making an face. Same with Tenma and Bakudo going "Get!" as the ball just goes sailing overhead and lands out of bounds. And Jeff and Bakudo's hit lands out of bounds. It seemed pretty likely that given his situation, Bakudo would be looking to use the block for a point. It's like Hirugami noticed that and shut him down. And you see Hirugami just smirking as he's like, thanks. And Bakudo's like, you're too good. And you have my boy Yamaguchi going, man, I'm surprised people can see and react to that stuff all while in the middle of a jump. And you have him thinking back to when Tsukishima did the same thing when he's setting up for the block and he kind of separates his hands so that Hoshiumi's ball goes straight through. And Tsuki's like, in my case, I had the perfect opponent to study and practice against. As you see him just looking at Hinata, and he goes, that and a single-minded determination not to get tooled. And you have in the stands, it's like, yeah, play the sport this long, the big guys are going to get used to the idea that everybody sees them as targets. It's like, yep, damn it for us short guys. Tooling the block was one of our best weapons against height. And you see the current rotation. Who the hell is that? Oh, Suki's older brother is watching this silently as he thinks back to Tenma telling him, the further up you go, the bigger, the faster, and the smarter your opponents get. I thought I had to rely on skill and technique to make up for my lack of height to succeed. But you know, tall or short, anybody can have good skill and technique. All you have to do is practice. The world is fair, but at the same time, it's completely unfair. Oh boy, and you see Hoshiumi standing next to Hiragami and Ushijima with the blockers, both who kind of just tower over him in size. And you see the next set is Hinata setting down a giant spike with a BAM! As the Jackals the Adlers just barely managed to bump it. And you have Hinata sweeps in from the left, but Kageyama dicks it. It's like, Waji-san's like left, it's like Korra. And you have Hoshiumi running up as he goes, nobody's gonna die if I screw up. So I'm way better off than Sachiro in that regard. At worst, I just won't be able to make a living doing what I love. And you see him thinking back to Hiragami telling him, though because it's something I like, I'm sure there'll be time when that makes it all the harder. And you see Hoshiumi doing his dump jump as he jumps up for the ball. And he goes, if I can't make this count, then I won't have a place on this court tomorrow. But if I'm so bad that I can't make this, I won't need a place tomorrow. And you see him just lining up as he's analyzing the block. And you see him thinking about how that one time... imagine this is him thinking about how he's going to tool it off, get out his hand, and then block it off to the side. And you see him going in for the spike. Oh... Oh boy, and you see Hinata's hands as he's up there, he just barely just notches it downwards as if he's going to go for a drop. And you see everyone thinking he's going to dodge. Oh my god. Oh, you see Hoshiumi going in for the ball and he's about to smack it straight. At the last second, he turns his hand to the side and just smashes it from that side. And he just bounces it through Hinata's guard onto his face and off. And you see everyone just watching in shock and amazement as you have score! Hoshiumi slams that one home. And you see, wait, did you see what I saw? It's like Hoshiumi's going for a block out, but he noticed that the blockers noticed he was doing that and turned it back into a straight spike at the last instant. And you see all the Jackals just looking at him in annoyance. You see Mayon, Thomas, Sokolov, Hiragami, and Tsukishima all just making this annoyed face. Tsukishima especially is like, ugh. You have a whoa, whoa, whoa. And you have go, go, Hoshiumi. He's like, are you kidding me? The net battles in this game are way too high level, thanks. And you see Hoshiumi just laughing and Sanada just like gritting his teeth. He's like, he's too good for Bakudo. And yeah. And you have, God, why can I not remember the coach's name? The coach and Tenma both going, wah! As you flash back to Hoshiumi with the interview with Nationals going, players over 6 feet are big compared to pro players around the world that's short. He's like, what? World players? And here Hoshiumi going, are you interviewing me just because I'm short? And you see the reporter from that time, Fumi Inaga, 29, sports journalist. And you have, wow, Hoshiumi's hitting techniques are head and shoulders above even the top players in the league. And you have Akane Yamamoto, 19, Nekoma grad, college freshman and publishing company intern. As you have Akane going, the first time, that's Fumi going, the first time I interviewed Hoshiumi-kun was during a spring tournament years ago. He asked me if I was only interviewing him because he was short. I couldn't answer. See, I'd built this dramatic story in my head that he was a brave young player, valiantly fighting on despite his handicap. Now that I've followed his career for 6 years, I can say for sure, yes, I interview him because he's short. I write stories on him because he's short. But it's not about how he's overcoming any handicap. His height is exactly what gives him wings. Oh boy, and you see him as he's walking away, he goes, you see that? That is how you fight in the air. And you see them all just glaring at him as he turns back and smirks and goes, understand? And you have Fumi going, being short is a disadvantage, but isn't a sign of incompetence. Oh, I love this so much. Oh god, I have to look up something really quick. Washido. That's it. I cannot believe I forgot my favorite character's name. It was Washido and Tenma that were doing the wah as they see Hoshiumi just tooling out everyone. Oh, that was really great. Alright, we'll dive straight into 394 next. As we have Wakitoshi-kun, how did you get so good? And you see Sakusa standing next to Ushijima. I think this is back in Nationals. They're standing next to each other. And you have Ushijima silent for a second before he goes by, practicing a lot. And Sakusa's like, besides that, and you see someone going, look, it's Ushiwaka and Sakusa. It's like, wow, just their presence is intense. And you see what Ushijima kind of thinking was, he's looking up, he's looking down, he's contemplating this. And he goes, because I got lucky. As you have chapter 394, The Lucky Ones. And you see back again from before where Hoshiumi's just celebrating his spike. It's like, go, go, Hoshiumi! And you have score! Hoshiumi's spike is a break point for the Adlers. The Black Jackals built up steam for Mia's serves, but the Adlers are catching up here at the end of set 3. And you have Sakusa thinking, those two, they didn't get lucky with their body types, yet they're still here. So there's no way they wouldn't be good. And you have Romero jumping up for second serve. Oh, as he just nails it in a beautiful arc towards Sakusa, who just barely managed to dig it. You have a wow! Romero goes to the opposite side of the court this time, but Sakusa still bumps it. That's Sakusa for you. No one will ever knock his hitting or his serving, that's for sure. He's really good. But he's incredibly good on defense, especially serve defense. Let me say that again because I confused that. But he's incredibly good on defense, especially serve defense. And you have... God, I cannot remember their names for the life of me, so forgive me. And you have two of the ones watching going, you got that, right? It's like, come on, Sakusa, do the rest of us a favor. Oh, it's the Fox guy. I cannot remember his name. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pretend that my brain is not dead today. Like, come on, Sakusa, do the rest of us a favor and have some kind of weak point, would you? Like, doesn't he have one? He's like, rotten food? So besides that, he's like, quick set me on. And you have Sakusa's never gotten especially passionate about anything, but once he starts something, he can't stop until it's done. He says leaving stuff half finished bugs him to no end. Get him started cleaning and he'll be at it forever. It's like, yeah, he does seem like a clean freak. Kind of like Kita-san, but also kind of not. You have once he gets working on something, he can't stop until he's satisfied. And you see Sumu bumping it over to the side for a set for Sakusa, who comes running up. And you have that goes for both cleaning and volleyball. Yeah, you see him doing it again with his hand motion. He's like, you can see his hands done, the little spin on it. And Ushijima and Sokolov have jumped up to kind of block it. And Sokolov's got one hand. I was like, got a good hand on it. And you see just swerving and shooting off to the side off of his hand. And Sokolov just looks at it in surprise. As you have Akashi going, it's not just serves where a wicked spin could make you shank it. He can do it off of his hits too. And you have, nice shot, Sakusa. You have getting some Sakusa backstory. As we have, I hate nothing more than people who are careless and unprepared. And you see him meeting Hinata again. He's like, Sakusa-san, hello. I'm Shoya Hinata. It's great to meet you. And you have him being silent for a second. He's like, Mister, I got a fever and got benched. And Hinata's like, please don't say that like some kind of nickname now. That was 6 years ago. And Sakusa's like, I don't hang around people who don't know how to manage their health. And Hinata's like, you don't have to worry about that. I learned from what happened. I'm way better about it now. And you have, I think everyone on this court pays the right amount of attention to their health and their lives. But accidents happen. No matter how well you prepare, you can't be ready for everything. Kiyomi spent a lot of time alone when he was a kid. His parents and his much older siblings were all very busy, and he was a quiet guy, not the sort you'd expect to make a billion friends. We were cousins and about the same age, but I didn't know him well. My parents told me to hang out with him, so I invited him to play volleyball. He followed me without a word. I had the impression it was less that he wanted to play the sport, and more that he didn't just have anything else he felt like doing. You have it done already? And you see this 1,000-piece puzzle just laid out perfectly. As you have, he's practically incapable of leaving anything half-finished. It's like he had a great life. You see him burying a pet with ripped Tora on it. As you see him bawling in the background. You have, once he starts something, he'll always see it through to the end. It's like he's still trying for 1,000 in a row. Oh, and you see little baby Sakusa just bumping the ball up, counting 375, 376, 377, 378. And you see a blap. Like, why couldn't you get that one? It was easy. Now you're ticking me off. And you see him tossing the ball back to Sakusa, who just bumps it effortlessly. He's like, see, I can get him just fine. He's like, oh, shut up. And he notices and goes, it's the spin. It's like, yeah, it's the spin. Don't point, it's rude. And he's like, oh, gross. And you see them just demonstrating how he can bend his hands with so much flexibility. Oh my. And you have tam, tam, tam. That sounds like somebody doing the wall drill. See, the wall drill is where you spike the ball down, bounce it off the wall, and back to you. And you see Sakusa doing the wall drills, except he's doing it with the spin, so instead of going straight and bouncing against the wall, it goes straight down, bounces off to the side, bounces against the wall, and then comes flying back. And he's like, oh great, he's gotten started. And you see All Japan's middle school athletics tournament, boys volleyball. And you see Sakusa just glaring at some kids that have come out of the men's washroom, just shaking their hands to dry it off after they lose the washroom. And you see him walking inside, seeing someone washing his hands on a towel, and he's like, he had a pocket hanky, and he's folding it with the damn side in. And you see Keiichi Ushijima just in there, just diligently folding his little pocket square, sticking it back inside his jacket. And Sakusa just all starry-eyed as he notices this as he walks out. And you see the next page, he's like, got it, as he's about to bump a serve. And you see it goes flying off him. And he goes, well, I thought I'd gotten it. Jeff, score! Service ace! It's like, yeah, great serve, Wakatoshi. And Jeff, for the first time, Kiyomi met someone who had a spin even more wicked than his. Jeff, man, it's so hard to bump hits from a southpaw. And you see Sakusa's silent for a moment before he goes, I need to do more bumps. So let's practice our serve receiving. And you see, after that, Kiyomi would sometimes play against Ushiwaka and would sometimes be with him at the same camps. Every time they were together, he looked like he was actually having fun for once. And you hear Sakusa go on, I hear Shiratorizawa lost to some team in their qualifiers. It's like, no way, which team? And you see Ushiwaka never made it to the spring tourney in his last year of high school. The some team that beat Shiratorizawa made it to the quarterfinals, but then their big star collapsed in the last set and they lost. That was the same year our captain went down with an ankle injury. We wound up losing a surprise upset to Inubushi Higashi. You see Sakusa going, this, even though we practiced everything like we were supposed to. And you see the score is 29-27 in the third set. As you have Tsukasa Izuna, Itachiyama Institute Volleyball Club captain. And you see the scene from Nationals where he's being led off by his teammates as tears are coming down his face. And you see later on, it's like, oh hey, isn't that Itachiyama's Izuna-san? I heard he got the best setter award in last year's Junior Olympic Cup. And Sakusa's like, It's like, what's with that non-reaction? And you see him just using a lint roller on his jacket, was just rolling it. Sakusa's just watching him. And Izuna spots him and is like, oh, you're Kiyomi Sakusa? He's like, do you want to use this? And Sakusa just stares at him as he pulls out his own. He's like, I have my own. And Izuna's just looking at him like, oh my god. And Sakusa's just like glinting, sparkly eyed. And you see later as the team's following him out after the captain's injury, he turns back and goes, Sakusa? And he's like, yes. He's like, I know what you're thinking. I bet right now you're like, it's always possible to be injured in any game. What are you crying for, right? And yeah, wow, he's pretty sharp. Sakusa goes, I can understand having regrets if you didn't practice enough or prepare properly beforehand. But I know neither was the case with you, Izuna-san, so I had to wonder. And you see him just doing a shocked, angry, crying face. He's like, right? Neither was the case. And that's why it hurts even more, duh! You have Izuna, what's wrong? And he's just kind of silent for a second. He's like, oh, I get it. But I don't want to pity you or say it sucks to be you. And you see, and you see all his teammates just reacting in shock as the captain's like, but it does suck to be right now. So Goose is like, oh. It's like, still, I'm happy that you're thinking of me. And he's like, I wasn't, not particularly. He's like, well, okay then. And you see him crying again as he goes, it isn't today, but one day I'll play my last game, and you better believe I'm going to finish that one with a smile. And you see, hearing Izuna-san say that got me thinking about my ideal last game. I was lucky enough to survive this long, lucky to meet people, lucky to still be playing volleyball. And you have Tsukasa Izuna, 24, Itachiyama Institute grad, Deseo Hornets scene as V-League Division 1. And you have Ryosei Kai, 21, Inubushi Higashi grad. And you have going out with a smile, ending on a victory. Both would be nice, but I don't find either particularly necessary. All I want is to practice and train, paying proper care and attention to everything. Today, tomorrow, and all the way up to the day before my last game. And if I'm lucky... God. You see Ushijima going in for the spike, and you see it going down, and you see Sakusa just lunging and perfectly digging it as he goes to go out thinking I could be done at any time and still be satisfied. Oh boy, alright. Where do I even begin with thoughts for this chapter? Man, it's so hard kind of trying to think of stuff to say because I'm not particularly proficient or good at talking about, analyzing the art or panel layouts and things like that. It's not really my forte. So I don't really have much to say with regards to that. So a lot of my focus usually tend to be towards the characterization and storytelling. Man, I really gotta appreciate a lot of the realism that Furudate-san brings to the story. Where you have Tenma commenting, kind of noticing, that, you know, him thinking about when he was a kid, or when he was playing volleyball, him thinking about, I had to have skill and technique to make up for my lack of height to succeed. And then him kind of recognizing, noticing that, well, I thought that made me special. If I would be able to amp this up, I'd be able to compete on the same level as all these pros. And then him kind of noting, well, that's not something that's exclusive to me. Anyone, if they practice hard enough, if they work hard enough, if they're blessed, if they're lucky, stuff like that, they'll all have the potential to be as skilled or as good as I am. You know, and him talking about, the world is fair, but at the same time it's completely unfair. Kind of blending those two almost opposing ideas together. I really appreciate the fact where Furudate to kind of acknowledges the fact that, unlike a lot of other shonen manga where it's like, oh, the power of friendship will get you through. Oh, you just need to have more willpower. Or you just want to have it more. And Furudate kind of acknowledging that, yeah, it's really nice to want something really badly and strive your hardest to get what you want, and be lucky enough or privileged enough to get that. But it doesn't always work out the way you want. Sometimes like life just gives you a kick in the nuts and you can't really do anything about it. And I love that you have Hoshiyumi and also Sakusa to an extent kind of acknowledging that, even though they've made a career out of volleyball at this point, that doesn't necessarily mean that this is something that they're going to be able to do for the rest of their lives. And how they constantly kind of have to be learning and growing and adapting to be able to kind of earn their place on the court rather than just kind of assuming that they should be given a place on the court for whatever reason. And the fact that a lot of them is also kind of coming to terms with the idea that, if that day does come where one day you're no longer able to play for whatever reason, you shouldn't have any regrets about it. You should be grateful for the opportunities you did receive and grateful for all the time you had. And put your all into it for that brief time that you do have, because you never know when it's going to go away. And I really love that message of live in the moment, enjoy it while it lasts, and when it does end, that doesn't mean your life is over or that there's nothing else to live for. There are other things that will come for you, different things that may not be the same thing, but kind of enjoy and revel in all those different experiences you get to have, and take away all the feelings and memories you have associated with those events with you, and you kind of use it in the rest of your everyday life. Just really, really love that message. Especially with Sakusa, where it's a little bit more practical. Where he's passionate about volleyball, and he goes, as long as I put in my best effort every day, and I acknowledge that I did do my best, and that there are forces outside of my control that I can't account for, that I can't control. As long as I acknowledge that and I just live every day like it's my last, I'll be grateful even if I'm no longer able to play volleyball, because I'll have had a good time. And I'm so happy for it. It's kind of emphasizing the fact that, something that was part of your life for a brief time that meant a lot to you, the bonds you made, the people you met, everything like that, just because that phase of your life ends doesn't mean that that your life is over and that there aren't better things or different things coming your direction that you can't still enjoy or love as much as this thing that was so meaningful to you. And especially in the context of knowing that we never got the rest of the high school volleyball stuff, how we kind of jumped right into the time skip with this, and it seems like we're coming to the ending. I feel like that's also a lesson, especially take away for what Haikyuu has meant to all its fans up to this point, and what the story has meant. So, I'm glad for that is kind of acknowledging this, and it feels like it's going to be the end, but I'm glad it's going out on top and it's not being stretched out for too long. Furudate-san really deserves a break. I'm going to be an emotional mess when the series ends. But until then, until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.